Sonia back here with some colourings that I have been doing. I have been working in a lot of books in the month of October. Been doing a little bit for Halloween, as most of us colourers have, I suppose, and also working in a few different books. Some books that I've had for quite a while and just have never really got around to getting into. So I really wanted to start a few things, finish a few things. So sit back. I've got my cup of tea here to keep my throat from getting too dry while I'm yakking on. And I will show you what I've been colouring for the month of October. Now, before I start, I just want to tell everyone that I am on Instagram, and my username on Instagram is Sonia's Pencil Art. Pretty easy to remember. And if you want to see any of the images that I have coloured a bit better, they're on my Instagram page, as well as probably some others that I haven't shown in this particular video, but probably will coming up. But I would love for you to follow me on Instagram, and if you do, just drop me a comment on Instagram to say, hey, I watched one of your YouTube videos, and you know, I've come from there. So yeah, so Sonia's Pencil Art, if you want to see any of these pictures in a bit more detail. So we'll start with Imagimorphia, a very popular book. I've had this one for a long time, and I've been working on quite a few images in this one. I'll pop these to the side for a moment. Let's go to it. So let's have a look here. Flip, flip, flip. Okay. So this one I started actually quite a long time ago, last year in fact, and all I did to it was I put soft pastels over the camel and fixed it with some hairspray so that wouldn't smudge all over the pages. Does a great job, that old hairspray. And yes, I really wanted to finish this one, so completed it and just used Crayola markers. And I actually used a watercolor paint called Twinkling H2Os, and it's one of my favorite watercolor paints because it is so, I don't know if you'd call it twinkling. I guess it is. It is kind of shiny, but the pigment is just absolutely insane, and it's kind of glossy looking, and I just love those paints. So basically Crayola marker and Twinkling H2Os and a little bit of soft pastel in there as well. So finish the old camel there. This one here I just went through. I got some gel pens that I found in my cupboard from a long time ago. Just went through, started doing all the little leaves with the glittery gel pen. This one's one that I have shown in a previous video from last year, so I won't talk about that one. Finish the dinosaur. This one was done with all markers and soft pastels. So I did the entire dinosaur with soft pastel, not the expensive pan pastels. I just can't afford them, but I just buy a cheap box of soft pastel. It's got multiple colors in it. I think it was about $20 for the whole lot. I just go over the whole lot with the soft pastel to get the color in there. And again, I fix it. You can use a fixative spray, but I just use hairspray. And then once that's set, I went over it with the Crayola markers. And yeah, it's come out pretty good, I think. All of this is just Crayola marker. So that's pretty good. what else have I worked on? This double page here, again, Crayola markers. And if you haven't got them, I highly, highly recommend them. Out of all the markers, they're the only ones I use, and they have no bleed through. As you can see, there's the next page, there's none of that pinky or orangey or green coming through to the next page. They really are just awesome. Yeah, I don't use any other markers. They're cheap. You get about 50, I think you get about 50 markers for about $20. And you can buy them here in Australia. I think I got mine at Big W, Crayola Super Tips. So if you watch Dee Dee Willingham, she put me onto them. But there's a lot of artists now just using them. I think they're meant for like little children, but they're just, and they go forever. Like, they really are fantastic markers. I thought they'd be like a cheaper marker where they like run out very quickly or dry out, but they don't. They just, you know, I've got so much use out of them. Started this one with all the bunnies. Had a bit of a smearing incident over here. I'm not even sure how that happened. Whether a bit of my hairspray got on there and somehow the marker got on there, I'm not sure. Twinkling H2Os again for the mushrooms to give them that shine. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but they actually have a like sparkling shine to them. Again, this one I did last year. I've shown in a different video. This is all just soft pastels, and then going through with coloured pencil. And then the pineapple, again, just with those Crayola Super Tip markers and some soft pastel in the background. There is King Kong. He was done last year. This is a sugar skull that I did for Halloween. Really enjoyed doing this one just with the red and blue and green colour scheme. Now, the only thing I do say with, if you're going to use Crayola markers, and if you're using, what I do is I spray on it's a spray, I've forgotten the brand of it, but it's a gloss sealer for artwork. And I do spray that on to protect the images after I've finished. It makes them slightly glossy, but not too glossy. And the only thing it does do is for some reason, all the other colours are fine, but it makes the red bleed through like orange onto the next page. That's the only thing I did find. So if you're using a gloss spray to seal your pages, then the red will go through, and it's only the red. And that's all I've done in that one so far. Then we'll come to the classic comic colouring book. This has got to be one of my favourite colouring books. When I do colour in this, I just really get caught up in it, and I just really love it. And I would love to one day do a colour along in this one. So if you're interested, drop me a line. Like a buddy colour along, I should say. So if you have this colouring book and you want to do the same picture as I'm doing, and we sort of both show them to each other either on Instagram or via YouTube, that'd be fantastic. So drop me a line if you're interested. Now this is my first page I did in this one, and I think I actually did this in September, but this was all Prisma pencil and polychromos. And again, I have sealed it with my gloss varnish spray. So it's it makes it feel like crown now, actually. And yeah, it's got a bit of a shine on it. So I really like how that turned out. And I also worked on have a look. This one here, one of my favourites. It's Heart Throbs. So this one was done with Derwent Inktense, one of my favourite pencils. I think I love Derwent Inktense so much because it combines my love for painting with colouring pencil. So I use a colour pencil and then I go through it and blend with my watercolour brush. So yeah, it's combining two loves. So if you love painting like watercolours and you also love colouring, Derwent Inktense are just a dream to work with. The colours, as you can see, are a lot more vibrant than watercolours because the pencils are actually acrylic paint pencils, I'm told. So when you go and wet them, they actually give more of an acrylic type paint look rather than a watercolour look. That was one I've done before. Aha. And the Crime Reporter. Again, these are both on my Instagram page if you want to have a look on there. And this was one of the ones at the front where it shows you what colours you can do. See the Crime Reporter there? So she had a red and green dress on. I just changed it a bit and did the opposite and more of a lighter green. But yeah, so I really love colouring these. So like I said, if you want to do a buddy colour along with this book, drop me a line and I may even do a YouTube video with a shout out for a colour along with this one. Worked in my Beauty of Horror by Alan Roberts. This is the only book I've got of him. I bought this last year for Halloween. I actually thought I was going to like working in this book more than I do. I find that the pictures are all pretty much double pages, so they take forever to complete, and I'm more of a single page kind of person. I like to finish my colouring in the same day. So I really like a lot of them, like, you know, they're double features, like they all, and yeah, it's kind of just way too much for me. So yeah, just worked on this one again with the markers and finished the clowns on one page, as you can see. Just did the black background on the other page, but haven't got around to the rest of the clowns. So sorry I'm moving around so much. I should put maybe the camera a bit closer. Nope, hang on, I'll just adjust you. Maybe that's a bit better. Okay. So yeah, got to finish these clowns. Put a bit of pastels on the wolf that I was going to start and just sealed it again with some hairspray. Finished this page here. I started this last year and didn't like the way it was going, so I tried to fix it a little bit. In the end, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. Again, another one for Halloween. I don't really celebrate Halloween. I'm in Australia and a lot of people over here still don't celebrate it. We don't have any door knockers on Halloween. I think we only did 1 year and it was our neighbour's little kids and that was about it. So not really huge on Halloween over here, but I still love doing the horror pictures around this time of year, just to kind of get in the spirit. Yeah, I did one in the Day of Cat, which I have not worked in for ages, since last year. Again, some that I've done in previous videos. This is the one I did, should pull these off, I did this month. So I did the back in acrylic paint. and I added these little planets. I can't remember. I think maybe the background had a pattern on this page and I didn't want to colour all that pattern in, so I just painted it out with the acrylic paint. And yeah, some of these circles are what's left. Okay, so for this I use my Derwent Inktense for all the purples and blues. But what gives this beautiful shine on this owl is the twinkling H2Os is what I used for the face of the owl. And the rest of the owl was done with markers. So I don't know if you can see how shiny that owl is, but I really love how this one turned out. It's just looks really good. Okay, so that's the only one I did in that one. Then I worked in World About Animals. Now this is actually probably one of the very first colouring books I ever bought. I could have even bought it for one of my daughters, I think. Had no intention of colouring this at all. But I picked it up the other day and just got really into it. And it has all animals with the small little lines, and they're all quite cute looking. So I did a couple. I did this one, which is the dog. This was all in markers, but I don't like how it turned out at all with markers. Yeah, I don't really like how that one turned out at all. But yeah, really gorgeous for a cheap little book. The pictures are really nice, and I looked up the book, The Menagerie, which I'm also thinking of getting, and I nearly bought it, and then that's when I remembered I had this book, and same sort of images. So I did the bear. Let's have a look. I love colouring bears. So I did the bear. This is all in coloured pencils, so Prisma pencils and the polychromos, and a little bit of that twinkling H2O for the gold bits. Started this, I think it's a fox. Started him with, he's going to be all oranges and yellows and maybe a little bit of brown. And what I really did like doing and had a good time doing was the lion, and this has got all sorts. This has got twinkling H2Os, Crayola markers, some other markers I found. It's got some gel pen. I think it may even have some just normal coloured pencil, but it's got all sorts, and he's so golden and shiny. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but I really love how he turned out. So he was really fun to do, just using all the different mixed medias. So I did that one. But yeah, if you'd like a flip through that, let me know and I'll do a flip through for you. I worked in Game of Thrones. If you'd like to see the other pages I did in September, which was quite a few, just look on my previous video. But in October, I did this page, which was all done again with the Derwent Inktense and Prismacolor, and I really love how it turned out. I took my time and just, I think I sat for a whole day in front of the TV watching Netflix and just working on this, and I really love how it turned out. So that's that page. Didn't do any more in that one. Then I did two little quick ones in Happy Hoppers. This book is a very basic book for me. It says colouring fun for kids of all ages, and basically I think it's more of a children's book. But I just colour in this when I'm not really in the mood to do anything big, but I feel like I want to colour something just to keep my fingers busy. So basically I did the first one, just some markers and pencil, having his bubbly bath. And then Knit to Fit. So this is Hoppet. And he's the darker bunny. So I did him in a dark marker. And yeah, I want to work through this, you know, in order probably. But I have done last year, I did something. Where is it? Pretty sure I did one last year. It's a cute book, but very, very basic. This one I did last year, just in the pencil. Yeah, it looks like that was the only one I did. So yeah, just want to work through that, you know, page by page. And then the last book I worked in was Fantasy World Volume 2. Now, this is not my favourite book, but I had this thing this month where I decided, right, find the book that I least like and try to do at least one page. So, you know, us colourers, we all tend to buy a lot of colouring books, and then sometimes we buy that odd colouring book where we think to ourselves, why did we buy that? Like, I really don't like this one. I just can't warm to it. I thought I'd like it, but I don't. And then we never do anything in it. Well, I did, when I first got it, I did this page. Now, I don't like grayscale colouring, so I don't really know how to do it. I just went over this grayscale with some pencil. I think this was last year. And yeah, I really don't like how it turned out. Again, I'm not big into grayscale. I don't really know the techniques of colouring it, but I didn't like it at all. So this year, I decided to do the girl, which is my favourite image in the whole book, and just use my Inktense and some markers for her hair. And I think she turned out a lot better doing that. So I just worked on her, which she turned out kind of cute. I don't like how her hair turned out, but I started doing it with markers, so I couldn't really fix it. I tried putting in a little bit of soft whisk with some colour pencil, but I made a dress sort of like clouds. So she turned out okay. I quite like her face, how her face turned out. But yeah, I really don't like this book. She's cute. The little girls are cute, but it's just not my cup of tea. Yeah, they're just all stock photos from Shutterstock, and yeah, I just don't enjoy it very much. So I'm sure we all have a book that we don't like working in and think, oh, why did I buy this one? Anyway, that's this book for me. So that's what I coloured in the month of October. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I shall be back next time with a colouring book haul. I'm just waiting for 2 more books to arrive so I can show you those with the other ones I've received. So if you've liked my colouring today, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear from you. Any comments would be wonderful. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.